Hi all, and welcome to my channel, Fred Makes Things, and we're gonna call it a crochet update video for you on this hot Friday afternoon. I'm not sure when you're watching this. It's Thursday evening when I'm filming it, and it is hot where I am. But anyway, yeah, we're talking making this thing, this crochet granny square bag. This video is going to be in a few parts. Part one is going to be talking inspiration, where I got the pattern from, that sort of thing. Part two is going to be looking at the bag itself. Part three is going to be pros, cons, and user error. And then part four is going to be my final thoughts and sign off. The bag is a little too large for my filming area. I am back downstairs today, but when we get into another part down the line, I'll show you what it looks like hanging on my door and stuff like that, so you can get an idea of like the size. But yeah, before we get started, I want to greet everyone, greet to new subscribers, OGs, anyone in between. Hello all. Hello to the people who've clicked on this video curious about this particular granny square bag, and hello to anyone else who is out there kind of watching this video. You are all so appreciated, and your kind input and feedback is always so very welcome. So let's just get into part one. Yeah, so if you've been on my channel any amount of time, you know that I get the Hooks and Needles subscription box. It's a monthly crochet box that I get. And along with that, I get Hooks and Needles emails. Their marketing strategy is very consistent, we will say, in that you get an email every single day. And in one of their emails around Memorial Day, they were talking about getting free patterns, and I was like, ooh, I like free patterns. So I decided to take a look at what they were offering. And they had 4 patterns that you could download. They had like a little baby lamb stuffy. They had what they call the classic Argyle scarf. They had something called the Sienna Arrow sweater, and then they had the granny square tote bag. The other 3 patterns didn't really speak to me. I might do the Argyle sweater in the future, but the granny square tote bag kind of piqued my interest. I've been curious about granny squares. I've been really curious about seeing all these tote bags that are floating around, so I decided to try out the granny square tote bag myself. They suggested using worsted weight 100% cotton yarn. I did not have that, but I did have some acrylic yarns floating around from mostly Dollar Tree or from my Buy Nothing group. So they wanted us to do 5 colors in yellow, off-white, light pink, maroon, and teal. And I went with a creamy white, or cream, this really vibrant orangey melony kind of color. It's like one of my favorite colors. I've been putting it in everything. A hot pink from my neighbors in the Buy Nothing group. I want to say it's Red Heart in something or other. It's like has like these like little glitter metallic threads running through it. It's really pretty. And black. So if I had teal, I would have thrown teal in here too, but I didn't. So they wanted to do 5. I did 4. But they gave us measurements and a gauge and pretty clear instructions, and so I decided to go for it. And you're looking at the final result. I followed their instructions for the granny squares, but I think I attached them on my own. I did the handle on my own, and I actually lined the bag as well. So let's get into part 2 to talk about the bag and all of the components in it. So you've been staring at the main body of this granny square. It's the same on both sides. I think it turned out really cool. And then we have a handle at the top, and they wanted us to do like 4 rows of single crochet. I wanted to see if I could come up with like something that was a bit more sturdy than 4 or single crochets, and something that didn't maybe stretch as much, and this is what I ended up with. It's a little bit shorter than the width of the bag, or a little bit longer than the width of the bag, but I believe that like even if it stretches a little bit, it would be okay. I made it long enough so that it kind of hangs from my shoulder like a shoulder bag should, and because you can't really see the cord kind of detail in it because of it being black, I made it in scrap orange too, so you can kind of see the detail in it in this way. I kind of sort of blocked this. I didn't do anything with this. This is something I whipped up last night, but you can kind of see how dense the crochet stitches are. And like, I think it's kind of pretty, and it makes for like a really nice feeling, kind of tough looking handle. We'll see how it holds up, but I thought it was kind of cool. So I made this instead of following the instructions on how to do this, and I'm pretty happy with it. I just did a braid out of some of the pink yarn that I have and attached it to the bag so that it can close up. When I have bags in this style, I tend to keep them tied and then just kind of slide the stuff in without untying the tie, but I did line it. This is the first time I've lined a bag, and I didn't have, so I probably made it more complicated on myself than I needed to. But I wanted to use batiks on the inside, on the lining. I forgot to trim those, shocking. But I wanted to do batiks on the lining so that when you saw how open the like stitches right on the granny square, you can kind of see what the lining looks like. And I didn't want to have white lining poking through. I wanted to have like a pattern colored lining poking through so that it looked very much intentional. And the easiest way to do that was to do a batiks. And I had a whole bunch of batik fat quarters that I could work with. So I kind of went to my stash and pulled colors that I thought worked really nicely with it. And this is the 2 that I came up with. Junior, if you missed him, he hasn't been in a video in a few days. I've been brushing him, so he's probably not as dandruffy. But we'll see when I'm editing. But anyways, yeah, so right, these are 2 fat quarters that came from the Sewers Club Stash Builder. What I did is I basically went from the sizing of the granny square, cut in lining squares to be the exact same size, a little bit bigger, and then I made 1 solid of the 1 fat quarter, a solid of the 2nd fat quarter, and then I did a like a stripy 4 kind of patch of the other fat quarter to join the 2 fat quarters together, or the 2 squares together in the exact same shape as the exterior of the bag. And then I didn't want to have any raw edges on anything because, again, this granny square is so loose, right? Like it's so open. I decided to do French seams on all of it. So I thought the French seams would work the best because then it didn't matter which side was my lining, which side was my, or my right side or my wrong side. And I thought they turned out really quite nicely. These are the French seams laid down, sewn down on the inside, and then all of the attaching French seams are hidden in on like this side. So you can kind of see the pattern and the colors and stuff poking through. You can kind of see here like one of the French seams poking through, but it would be difficult, right? It kind of just blends in, and that's kind of what I wanted. But I wanted something that, or colors that would work really, really well. I really wanted to highlight like this orangey color. I thought this like orangey and pink color combo would be so pretty as the lining fabric. And of course, recently, like in this week's stash builder, after I'd already put all of this together, I got this. Like, and how pretty is that with it? Like, how cool would that have looked together? Right, like this, and then like this pink. Like I'm happy with the black and pink too. I think it's a nice combination, but like, look how pretty those would have been together as a lining. I'm a little annoyed that this came a little too late for me to be able to put it in. But I did take the time to like actually hand stitch the lining in. I did that last night. It's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. And so yeah, this is the bag. Here it is hanging on the back of a door or something for you so you can see the full beauty of it. And then here's is on my kitchen table too, most likely with a cat sitting either on or near it. So you can kind of see how it looks laid out as well. So yeah, really, really happy with how it all came together. Let's get into part 3, pros, cons, and user error. Well, pro, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the colors that I chose. I'm happy with the lining that I put together. I was a little surprised at how long it took me to make the lining of the bag, but then again, I made more work for myself doing French seams and stuff like that. I'm happy with the pattern. There wasn't any really large discrepancies in the pattern or issues in the pattern when I was following along. It's pretty simple pattern. 3 granny squares sewn together. I don't remember how they wanted us to do the edging. I kind of went on my own, but do the edging. While you're working on the edging, you add the handle in, which I did secondly, and then you're good to go. I would have liked to have had some sort of like instruction on how to put this together, but we'll talk about that in a second. I like that I have like a fun bag like this, and I like that this is easily a repeatable bag. It took me, they say it should take 3 to 4 hours to make. If you didn't do a lining, I could see that, especially when you get faster at making the granny squares and stuff like that. You can easily see it being faster, but by lining this to avoid all of the stretch you would end up getting with it, it does take a little bit longer. So yeah, I would make this again. I would make this a bunch of times over, really. Cons. I don't like that it's not lined. I don't like that there's no kind of like way of closing this up. Like I said, I just made 2 braids. I don't really like chains for like this stuff. I prefer like a nice braid. So I made 2 braids out of the pink so that I could tie it together. I didn't really like how they did the handle, and I didn't like that in the pattern they didn't give you how long they wanted you to make your handle. They just said make your handle to like the length, or your strap to the length of your choosing, and I prefer definitive kinds of numbers like that. Yeah, user error. The only user error that I did is that this is a slightly larger bag than it's supposed to be. What they wanted you to do is 2 rounds of your first color, 2 rounds of your second color, and then a round each of your next few rows. Or sorry, 2 rounds of your first color, 2 rounds of your second color, 2 rounds of your third color, 1 round each of your other colors. And so you end up with, let me just double check the pattern. Right. Okay. So they wanted you to do 11 rounds. And if you did that following their pattern, right, with 5 colors, this other orange, the second round of orange would have been a different color. Because, right, you're doing another color on top of it. So for them, they want you to do 2 rounds of your interior color or your first color, 2 rounds of your second color, 2 rounds of your third color, then 1 round of your second color, and then a round of a new color, another round of a different color, and then another round of your last color. So your 3 colors on I am making a mess out of explaining it, but basically when you reach your outer levels, you end up introducing 2 new colors into your scheme. Like you have a repeat of your interior colors, sort of, and then your last 2 colors are different colors. So where you see my black and my hot pink, right, I pulled the hot pink from the middle, but they want you to do it slightly different, introducing, for them it was a maroon and a teal. For me it was a black and a repeat of the pink. I am very allergic to lilacs, and I can smell lilacs coming in, so I think I'm starting to sound a little bit muddled in my complaints, or in my user error. But as far as user error goes, that's it. My color scheme is just a little bit off because I used 4 colors instead of 5, but it ended up with the dimensions all ending up the same. Speaking of dimensions, mine came out to be 16 inches wide, and I'm going to go with probably 16 inches tall because they are squares. 16 inches wide and, yep, 16 inches tall. So not a terribly sized bag. Let's get into final thoughts and sign off. Like I said, I really like this bag. I really like how it came together. I really, really like the colors that I chose. I like granny squares. I can see why granny squares are a very popular kind of crochet choice. They work up quickly, they work up nicely, and they're always really quite pretty when they're finished. I think that if you don't care too much about having perfect color transitions or following the pattern very well, the pattern really does kind of walk you through how to kind of put one of these bags together. And it would be a really good project if you've got scrap yarn where you just want to make 3 granny squares of whatever colors or design that you choose, and then assembling them together. Like, the main key is to keep your 3 granny squares all the same size. In this case, it's 11 rounds, and they come out to about 16 inches on the diagonal, so a little shorter than that. But yeah, I like this bag. I liked it as a little interlude to the Hooks and Needles and Mary Maxim weight. It didn't pull me out too far from working on those other projects. It was like a good couple of days kind of thing to work on, and I really enjoyed making it. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now and go. So what do we have coming up? Monday is our Hooks and Needles review for box 11. Those projects are nearly finished. Wednesday is going to be our Sewers Club project unboxing for June. Friday is hopefully going to be our Mary Maxim project review, but I'm having some issues making the hat. So I'm going to give it another day or two and then switch over maybe to the wrap or shawl or whatever it is that they have in there, because I don't know if this hat is working out for me. And then after that, the week after, not sure what Monday is going to be. Wednesday is going to be our quilt update video. And then after that again, who knows? Who knows what the future brings. So anyways, do think about subscribing if you want to see any of those videos. Subscribe if you want more cat interludes. I promise Junior will grant that request, I guess. And yeah, I'm gonna go. So with all of that being said, I'm gonna say thank you so much for watching, and I will talk with you again soon. Bye.